been asking ourselves some very critical but patriotic questions at the 5 o'clock hour. So I'm ready, and I trust you're ready also. My name is Kimberly. Call me Kim, the Oracle, Digital Oracle, OTF, Fellow, Ochanyawa, Madam Speaker, and I'll say yes to them all.
And my name is Gabriel Spector. Well, they call me the radio's finest, and I'm excited to be back. It promises to be a great week, but it could be a long week as well.
All right. Yes, but a productive one, long shot, doesn't matter. Our guest has been online waiting patiently to join the conversation. I'm happy to mention that we have Mr. Chuks Oko. He's a renowned journalist himself, an editor-in-chief. And I just want to be sure, okay, I'm going to leave that all until I confirm. But Mr. Chuks joins us to look at some of the big stories today. Mr. Oko, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. Hello? Oh, dear. Okay, it seemed like here we go again. Hello, Mr. Oko. All right. I
think he's muted.
He isn't. Okay, Mr. Oko, can you please unmute from your end? All right, then. Here we go. I think it's a repeat of what we experienced last week. We'll just get to call our guest on a different medium altogether. Please stay with us.
Politics with security.
Let's talk about the biggest conversations.
Made of trustworthy ideas.
Passionately connected
to everyone.
Let's
talk on Nigeria Info 95.1 Abuja.
Nigeria Info. Did you know?
Did you know?
Did you know?
Did you know?
Did you know? Did you know? Your dose of facts we bet you never knew. Right here.
The ancient Kano City Wall is a 14-kilometer radius earth structure, and they were military fortifications for the defense and protection of its citizens. The coming in and exit of people were through gates in the walls, which Sarkin Ofas monitored. In 1903, the walls held off British forces for some time during the Battle of Kano before the city was captured. Dala Hill, Kurmi Market, and the Emir's Palace, each a significant cultural site of its own, are within the walls. The foundation for the construction of the wall was laid by Sarki Gijimasu III from 1095 to 1134 and was completed in the middle of the 14th century during the reign of Sarki Usman Zamnagawa Danshekaro. During the time, Kano became the Hausa capital. The walls were about 12 miles long, 40 feet wide at the base, and 30 to 50 feet high. They are made of laterite and styled after the North African Maghrebis architecture. In the 16th century, the walls were further extended to their present position. The gates are as old as the walls and were used to control movement of people in and out of the city. Though most of them are largely in ruins, in fact, heritage officials estimate that only 20% of the wall now remains intact. Within the Kano city walls are enclosed Dala Hill, where the city's first inhabitants settled, Kurmi Market, a commercial center and hub of the Trans-Sahara trade, and the Emir's Palace, the seat of political power. Two more gates, Sabwar Kofa and Kofar Famfa, were built after the British...
Hello.
All right, we finally got a hold of our guest. Thank you very much. We apologize for that, and I think it's a technical problem altogether that we're going to sort out, but I'm glad we're able to get you here. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to the Big Three.
Good afternoon, Kimberly.
Yes. So, seeing that let's just get straight to the story, sir. The Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, are having a face-off with Dangote Refinery, and they're threatening a nationwide strike beginning today, the 8th of September, to protest what they described as anti-union practices by Dangote Petroleum Refinery. And I know that the federal government is trying to wade in. They scheduled a meeting earlier today. It was initially 3 p.m., moved it to 10 p.m., but the NUPEM guys apparently were not in Abuja, and so we moved it again further. So we just don't know what the outcome will be, even though NUPEM is insisting that they would continue on their strike, but talks are ongoing, hopefully to be resolved. Now, at the heart of the dispute is the refinery's decision to deploy 4,000 new compressed natural gas, the CNG trucks, for direct distribution of fuel, while allegedly asking drivers to shun union membership. The refinery's new logistics model, unveiled in June, is poised to shape Nigeria's downstream sector, but it has also pitched one of Africa's richest men, Aliko Dangote, against one of Nigeria's most powerful union, the NUPENG, raising question about workers' rights, monopoly fear, and the changing balance of power in the country's petroleum industry. So in a statement after its national executive meeting last week, NUPENG accused the refinery of flagrant violation of workers' constitutional right to free association and vowed to mobilize its members to resist. And Dangote is discarding drivers who toil day and night while seeking to silence them, say Wale Afolabi, NUPENG National Secretary. They don't want the workers to have any voice or representation. And the president of the Petroleum Product Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Billy Gillis Harris, has said that the action of Dangote may push smaller operators and truck owners out of business. So this and a few other reasons is why they want to go on the strike. The federal government is going to interface a tripartite meeting of some sort to see how this can be resolved, because the last thing any Nigerian wants is NUPENG going on strike and queuing up for hours and the whole scarcity that comes from it. But do you think this is enough ground for NUPENG, really, for Dangote, who is a private business, to say, I don't want my truck drivers or people affiliated with me to be a part of the union?
Well, Kimberly, the situation is one I will liken to a scenario. My people will say that it's like a fly perching on a testicle. You know, you know how delicate that area is, and you need to kill the fly. So what do you do in that kind of situation? So that's the kind of situation I'm looking at. Number one, Dangote will argue that if he's not entangled union things, it's trying to deal directly with the retailers, that is likely to also affect the masses positively, but that could mean a cheaper price for petroleum products. While the paying of Dangote of check-up dues, you know, and control that's about to slip off their hands. But unfortunately, this position, NUPENG seems to be on the side of the law, because Section 40 of the Constitution, Section 12 of the Trade Union Act, Article 10 of the African Charter on Human Rights, all of them support unionization in one way or the other. But this is also a new business, if you ask me, that will get stifled in union things if it's allowed to just start from they want to do it. So my midway solution will have been that NUPENG so pedal on their strike and give Dangote a reasonable time, in which even the government that is trying to intervene will also have intervened and made sure that things are the way two of them want them. Because maybe there's also a concession that Dangote could get if they go into negotiations. But you also know how these unions work. Their own, by no middle grounds for them. So it's really a dicey situation, but we the end users are the people being affected. So one will only, again, appeal that in taking in embarking on these fights, if you remember that it's actually the poor masses that are suffering.
Well,
That's my position.
you did mention the new business in terms of the Dangote aspect of it. And we do know that unions have held the country to ransom in the past for different reasons. Could be about their work conditions, which they mentioned in this particular one. But isn't that also that fear coming from Dangote that if you have members join the union, and at the drop of a hat, you would hear one protest, one strike, and demands and all whatnot, even though the Constitution provides for it.
Yeah, but that's why I said he does have his reasons, because this is a new business. And you rightly said that you like to talk about unions holding the country to ransom. NUPENG, this particular NUPENG is particularly notorious for it. Remember the Frank Kokori days. You know, when June 12, those were really the guys mixing with the military, you know, holding the country to ransom as it is. It's a very powerful group. That's why everybody gets scared of them when they say they...
yeah, when they sneeze, we catch cold, every one of us.
Want to go on. Because it's more like binding a... You know, if we allow those things to happen that way.
All right. Well, one quick question, but we need to go on a 30-second commercial, and we want your take on the fact that it feels like Dangote Refinery has been contending with a lot of things since it was set up. From either the question as to imports, is it cheaper to produce here and all of that. And maybe, just maybe, it might ease off when more refineries spring up. It just feels like one man against the world at this point in time. But we'll get your thoughts on that in a bit.
I'm so happy. Oh, you mean you're rhapsodic? RHAPSODI.
This is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Hello. My name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk. Bloomberg, but there was an interview where he did admit that if he knew what he knew as at when he granted the interview, he wouldn't have gone into that sector and that industry, because it felt like there's just so much to contend with at this point in time. I think it's going to ease out if we have more private players in the industry and we do more refinery beyond Dangote, because it just feels like Dangote is, it's, on one hand, the narrative is, all of this is done to stop a monopoly from happening. The fear that if he's giving too much comfort, he just might take over the space like he's done in some other areas. Do you share those reservations also?
Yeah, I even share worse reservations, because I'm rather seeing it as the rot in our country fighting a situation where it might be righted. I'd rather see corruption, you know, trying to suppress a genuine business that could ease the pains of the masses. Check out what has happened. As they came on board, don't we have cheaper pump prices? I know that this morning I bought fuel for 880 something naira in the east. You know, something that you would not even imagine, because I know that there are some stations in Abuja that still sell 900 and something. But here we are having a kind of the regulated price of petroleum product, because there's somebody who's trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
This is to be expected. I'm surprised that Dangote was saying that if he knew what he now knows, you know, at the time he was, what he now knew at the time he was granting the interview, that he wouldn't have gone in. we are hailing him for attempting to help the masses. He should endure. I am very sure that when he resolutely fights this fight to the end, the masses will be the winners at the end of the day. We will be at the winning end. So he's like championing the causes for the masses, if you ask me. So he should please bear the small bronze, the pains, the knocks on the head and on the leg or everywhere that will come. And he is in any case the only kind of person, well positioned to take that kind of beating for the masses, because he has the capacity to hold on. So I was happy when I saw that NUPENG is even saying that it's him and his cousin. So at least there's another person backing him in the fight, the MRS group, So if it is true, I will even be happier if more people will join him.
Well, a lot of people...
But that is on one side.
Okay.
On the other hand, this NUPENG are also our brothers and our sisters. It is their own rights that have been trampled upon. Then there will be also need for him to look at some things he can give into. But we do know that unionization, at the end of the day, most times causes more harm than good in some instances. And that really helps the economy in some other instances. So there has to be a middle ground, like I said. Federal government could go in, because they are also the only people who have the muscle to say, listen, you guys, see whether I can consider on this. You see whether I can consider on this. Or you can even started saying by yesterday that no matter what the federal government is saying, they are going on strike. So we are lucky that we haven't seen a full-blown strike yet. So we are hoping they will see reason and probably give more time for discussions to hold.
All right. We'll keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best here. Talking about a lot of things that can put pressure on the average Nigerian, let's look at the 5% tax surcharge on petrol and diesel matter right now, where we get to hear from the government that they're introducing, it's been there quietly, just innocently sitting in our laws and in our books, a 5% surcharge on petrol and diesel sales. But all of a sudden, it's resurfacing because, the initial speculation was the 1st of January 2026 it will come into effect, even though there's been some bit of clarification from the chairman of the Petroleum Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, Taiwo Oyedele, who said the new Harmonized Tax Act signed in June by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu does allow for the surcharge on fossil fuel, but stressed that only the finance minister can decide when it begins, and January 2026 is not on the calendar. But it might not be January, it might be February, but this is something apparently...
It's around the corner.
Exactly. And something for Nigerians to chew over, perhaps deliberate. Sometimes you put this thing out there for some bit of debating and deliberations among Nigerians and see if it's going to be popular or something they would need to shelve even further. The levy is part of the newly signed Nigerian Tax Administration Act, one of 4 tax reform bills signed into law by President Tinubu on the 26th of June 2025. The regulation requires that a surcharge be applied to every supply or sale of refined fossil fuel products in Nigeria, whether locally produced or imported, with the money collected at the point of sales. Cleaner fuels such as renewable household kerosene, cooking gas, LPG, and CNG are exempted from this. So it's already doing the heads in of a lot of Nigerians. We're like, we're not ready for this and all of that. I think it was smart enough for them to quickly say, see, we didn't say January 2026, but it's always been in your law and we're planning to activate it. Should we even be activating this one at all? What does it even really mean? 5% surcharge. I get to pay extra for every liter of petrol I buy. Mr. Oko.
Kimberly, you see, that's part of this thing we're just discussing now. Do you know how Nigerians will react if they hear that NUPENG, for instance, wants to mobilize against the payment of 5% tax? Because that's the one that concerns everybody. And we will already say, well, now we are asking that down now. You know, yes, it will put more money at the disposal of the federal government to provide amenities. But the question is, from where are we paying this money? The NLC yesterday, I read them being about 70,000 naira minimum wage is no longer enough for even the commonest of workers, the lowest of it. So we are in a situation where we earn so little, but there are so many obligations. There are so many things we need to pay for. We do know that when we pay taxes, government will do better things for us. But eventually, how do we even survive to pay those taxes? So that's a very serious problem, Kimberly. We are hoping that they could actually either delay it, or instead of talking about 5%, if it's 2%, but you know how it is with us in Nigeria. We are, once we get paying it, we'll keep paying it, and nobody's you know how it is. I mean, nobody will. You will just say, okay, it'll be 10 naira. They say, well, we're going to take 10 naira now and let me make it they go my business. So it's really not a wonderful time to introduce this tax.
Yeah, and it feels, even though the argument of the government has always been in the FEMA Act, it's been there but not implemented for some reason. Either very ineffective government over years, or a government that looked at it and saw like we can impose more responsibility on the people. And it feels like the strategy we have also seen is it brings more burden on the people. And I know that like organizations like the IMF will tell you, where is government spending so much? Cuts your excesses, subsidy removed, and a few other things. But we have seen people having to pay more for electricity, pay more for these, and then you have to pay this extra one, which is, yes, it's more money for the federal government, but it's more money out of my pocket. And if I'm not generating more personally, in terms of the business environment, that is too much burden. That's the question is, what other strategy does the government have up its sleeves beyond taxing the people to coma?
Well, you see, you can say I'm laughing because sometimes you don't even know what to start saying any longer. But government has to be run. We're already making money from other sources. We're not Britain, for instance, that lives 100% or thereabouts on their taxes. We have other sources of income. So we could look at enhancing those other areas where we are making money from. The last quarter reports actually show that we're making much, much more money from non-oil sources.
Yeah.
We can just strengthen whatever it is that is yielding that money, strengthen the oil sector, strengthen the solid mineral sector. We are blessed in this country if only we can harness our things together, all the resources we have. You have people like there are a lot of countries. We are blessed in this pulling these resources together and managing our affairs well. So when it comes to things like this that bear directly on the citizenry, one will advise caution and see in other ways that this could be circumvented so that the masses could at least keep breathing.
Mr. Chooks, this is Gabriel Spector. I've been in the studio alongside with Kim, and I've listened intently to everything that you have submitted so far. I wouldn't know if this is a question as a matter of fact, but I'm just thinking in my head. The federal government has insisted over and over again that the policies, the reforms of the president are in the right direction. And we are beginning to see positive yields to some of these reforms. And it looks like there's a major disconnect between what the government is doing and the reports and what the people are actually feeling back home. And so this now, 5% tax surcharge on fossil fuel products, majorly petrol and diesel, is going to put more burden on Nigeria. So there's that disconnect. Or maybe it's just, I'm wondering the issue here. Maybe it's just in my head. When the government say the things we are doing, they are yielding positive results. Nigeria is on the way to glory. And people are crying. something is wrong somewhere. Is it that the stats or the... Yeah, I'm listening, Mr. Chooks.
Yeah, we have what is called macroeconomics and then the microeconomics. So I think the disconnect you are talking about happens in between the micro and macro. You know, you have you know what they say about looking at big picture and then looking at the smaller picture.
Yeah.
Yes, some years are being made on a general basis. But when you now come to how it's impacting directly on the citizenry, that's where the disconnect starts to happen. Because maybe if you go asking maybe top civil servants, maybe there is a way it's reflecting around them. But if you now go to the junior ones or to the artisans on the street or the private sector, you are not seeing much of those things happening. But it is clear from all the indices that something positive is happening. But where maybe we will soon start seeing the effects. But my problem is, like you're talking about 5% tax, maybe we just begin to see the effects and this tax creeps in again.
And takes the effects off.
And No, I mean, add its own biting effect to take us back from any kind of relief we might be feeling from any new thing that is happening. Because it is clear from the tax reform bill, law now, no longer bill, that we are trying to do what every other person out there, I'm talking about the wider world, is doing, taxing everything, taxing beer, taxing coke, taxing even water. But like I said, if we were concessions to our people, we probably would be looking at other ways to ameliorate this, since we have other sources of income away from those other people that depend wholly on tax for survival.
All right. Well, Nigeria is tightening already in terms of the pressure of what the possibility of a 5% surcharge will be. No day just yet to stop freaking out. They say it's not January 2026, but it's around the corner. So mentally prep yourself and all of that. Just before we get to the tech story, let's look at some of the comments we have and I take a call or two and then get to the next story. One of the comments, we're live on YouTube and Facebook, so at Nigeria Info, ABJ, on Facebook, and at Nigeria Info Abuja on YouTube. Nigeria Info Abuja on Facebook also. Otso Sule says, good afternoon. Okay, thank you very much. Good to know that you are watching us. Nico Emmanuel from Port Harcourt, we see you. John Marvel, watching us from Abuja. Thank you very much, John. We do appreciate your comments. The truth about NUPENG and the oil marketers is that Dangote truck will deliver straight from depot to the destination and have tracking devices. This will expose the exact oil consumption and the corruption in the corruption oil industry. Well, this is what someone is saying. I don't know if Dangote Refinery has put out a solid statement as to why, but I know that they were planning to get 4,000 CNG trucks. And who knows, I mean, every truck and every movement of oil in places like Saudi Arabia is tracked and monitored. We do some level of tracking and monitoring, but if we're talking about our refined fuel being smuggled out of the country, it means that we're not tracking and monitoring enough. Who knows if, but it's a conversation to be had with the union, though, to see what's best for all of us at the end of the day.
All right. D. Patriot says, your phrase was spot on, talking to you, Kim. He says, this man came to tax people to coma. You haven't seen a thing yet. Remember, he said, bring me water out of the rock. Again, that he will continue from where his predecessor stopped. Where are all the monies going? What has improved or looking to improve? Deliverance is coming, the Patriot says.
All right, from the Patriots. Well, let's hear from this caller. You can call us up on 0700 951 0000. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Abdullahi Haruna.
Abdullahi Haruna, you.
Haruna Spice.
Oh, Haruna Spice, good to hear from you. Let me just confirm that my guest can hear you. Hello, Mr. Oko, can you hear our caller?
Yeah, I heard the greeting.
Oh, all right, go ahead, Haruna Spice. Good to hear from you.
Okay. Thank you so much for this robust discussion. As important as the topic is, I'm more thrilled and inspired by the articulation of the guests. It speaks with the clarity of understanding issues. While it's like the rat bites and blows the breeze. So he's hitting and also cooling. So kudos of this kind of interaction and a guest that will articulate without necessarily always looking at the fourth line, the playing game, the ball passing. I think he's actually educating us, and I actually called to commend this choice of guest. Thank you.
All right, Haru Spice, thank you very much. We do appreciate you for calling and commending. Mr. Okoye was just saying that you gave a balanced representation of issues, looking at it from all sides and not just one side. Thank you very much, Haru Spice, for that. All right.
Thank you, Haru.
Okay. While we wait for more calls, let's just look at this other story quickly and then throw it open for others to call us in. The resident doctors in the federal capital have begun a 7-day warning strike. Yes, nobody wants to hear this, particularly having to do with doctors or consultants to be. The Association of Resident Doctors in the federal capital embarked on a 7-day warning strike, and the development was announced today in a communique signed by the President, George Ibong, alongside other members of the executive. The strike, which commenced, 8th of September, is expected to run until the 15th of September, which is Sunday. The doctors had in January embarked on a 3-day warning strike to drive home their demand, and the communique read arising from the meeting after rigorous deliberation and taking into consideration the fact that management is unwilling to acknowledge the emergency in the FCT health sector, Congress unanimously resolved as follows to embark on a week strike. And then if you're looking at the grievances, well, it said despite rounds of dialogue with the FCT administration, they failed to address long-standing concerns affecting doctors in its employ, lack of manpower, poor welfare, unpaid salaries, unexplained deductions, the psychological toll of long working hours, and said no new employment had taken place in the FCT hospital since 2011, forcing resident doctors to cover multiple departments. The FCT minister, Yesim Wike, had been notified severally of the issues affecting doctors, but had allegedly turned a blind eye, he said, and added that the pressure of excessive workload had already led to fatality, recalling the recent death of a doctor in Port Harcourt. And that the association also pointed to unsafe condition in hospitals, citing the case of a nurse who died from a snake bite at Abaji General Hospital. So they're saying the FCT needs to swing into action, and this is just a warning strike. If nothing is done, no proper intervention or quick meeting to resolving it, they might just get a nationwide ultimatum being called over similar demands at this point in time. I know that on Sunrise Daily, on one of the TV programs, the Minister of State for Health expressed optimism that ongoing talks with NAD would prevent a wider strike. So they're already interfacing with them. But then this is an interface that they started since last year, and I'm a little worried that some of these demands have not been met to the point that they are still taking us back to a previous meeting they had over work conditions and all of that, and it's still standing. I mean, ASU just threatening theirs, huffing and puffing, and they said we're going to have a high-stake meeting with them and come up with a timeline to meeting it. Resident doctors have come. We don't know who else is waiting in the shadows to say, all right, so let's see how this one goes, and we'll remind Nigerians that the federal government have not held their own end of the bargain. How do you see this playing out? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but talk to us.
Well, for me, this especially these doctors face off in the hospital, I am hoping that reason could prevail. You see, when I looked at the demands and I talked to a few of those doctors, I was really pained. I mean, here's a doctor telling you to employ more people. It's not as if they said it today and they're expecting the result today. Like you said, some of these things are dated back long ago. And they are saying a situation where you have a doctor managing 2 departments or 3 departments, that already lifts him out of his specialist area. That's already bringing in inefficiency to bear on in an area that should be highly efficient. It's only bringing dwindling returns, whether you like it or not. Like you said, the guy who died has slumped because how many operations did he perform?
Yeah.
How many days was he on? How many hours was he standing on his feet? It's a terrible situation. We are seeing results of lack of manpower, what it could do to the system, to the psyche of workers, and to the environment, and even to the lives of the ordinary person who does not have money to access private healthcare. So the doctors seem to have a very genuine demand, if you ask me. They're also talking, just like they talked about employment not happening. Of course, that means promotion has also been stalled. Don't forget that civil servants. It means that the promotion have also, if they stopped employing in 2011, like they said, you can also imagine when the last promotion exercise held. Not to talk about allowances and other kind of monies that are being owed. And these things are glaring. It's not as if they are manufacturing things. They are saying things that is written in black and white, things that are there. So why can't they just be looked into? Like you said, a whole lot of sections are probably gearing up to do one thing or the other. But let them start from solving some, so that even if others are coming, we'll be counting that A has been solved this way. We're hoping that B will also be solved that way. Otherwise, we're heading for chaos.
We have critics who are saying that the government, and it's not just about this current administration, over time, we've seen a government that has not prioritized enough of the human capital growth and issues that affect, like areas of education and health. Now, there's some improvement and all of that, but perhaps not enough to match the time we're in to show that, we see this as being serious. For example, in the federal capital, where primary school teachers were at home for a long time. Now, a lot of infrastructural development was going on one hand, but on that hand, students were at home. And then, it begs the question, even though it wasn't on the FCT minister and it was on the area council chairman, but we're looking at the entire vertical chain of government, from the federal, state to local council or local government. It just doesn't give that vibe like certain things are prioritized, education and health, for example. How do you see the government?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
This things you are talking about, it's not even, it even transcends just the human capital aspect of it. The doctors will also tell you that the equipment, of course, if they are not looking after the human beings, who's now going to talk about the equipment? The equipment, they say, some of them are moribund, some need updating, some need refurbishing, some need replacement. But nothing has happened within the same period they are talking about. So it is more than just mounting it. Like you said, things are improving bit by bit. But I do imagine that one of the things anybody could think about will be how to improve the health of the citizenry. Especially, like I said, those who can't afford to finance private treatments. It's by sometimes for ordinary headache, for ordinary 200 naira, for 1,000 naira, for less than that. And yet, we have facilities who have mobilized to ensure that such things do not happen. All
right. So we'll take one more phone call or two. Our time is fast spent, but let's go on a very quick commercial, 30 seconds. I will be back.
So happy! Oh, you mean you're rhapsodic? RHAPSODIC.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.
If you have a small nose, good for you. All right. Nigerians are getting all worked up about this. Just the thought of it is enough to get one wound up. A Yoruba proverb says, what is the advantage of a bitter cola? We try to split it, but it has no segment, and we try to eat it, but it's always bitter. What is the advantage of a government and its elephant projects that do not benefit the ordinary citizens? Joseph from Petrol. Let's hear this caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Ajola from Dusalaji.
Go ahead, sir.
Nigerians should be reminded that we are in the administration of tax collectors. This administration will continue to overburden us with taxes. Whether we like it or not, we go pay for all the loans that were collected. And for the increment in the allowances and jumbo pay salaries that they are collecting. It's very sad. This government don't have any sympathy for Nigerian masses. They keep on oppressing us and shortchanging us. It's very sad. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And Baba, we're watching from Wuse Zone 3. We see you. Thank you very, very much for your comment. Let's listen to this message. I think, okay.
Good afternoon, Madam Kim. Please, I just want to ask the federal government the reason behind of keeping all this money, because we heard that the economy is now stable. They are now making money from all the angles. All this money they are gathering and they are keeping. What are they keeping it for? Is Tinubu keeping it for his family or the National Assembly? Because today now you hear say doctors have started striking. The NUPENG is planning to strike. ASU is planning to strike. All this money that Tinubu is keeping, why can't he put it on the line and pay to all these people who need the money? Is he keeping it for his own family, or is he keeping it for National Assembly, or he just want to punish Nigeria? Tinubu should look inward now and do the right thing. Not all this kind you are gathering money for who? Who is going to spend the money? If the doctors didn't get paid, the NUPENG are planning to strike. The ASU are planning for only. What's the sense of keeping this kind of money?
All right, thank you very much. Well, NUPENG is not directly tied to federal government keeping money anywhere. It's a face-off with Dangote Refinery and what they see as anti-worker policy. The federal government is the good guy trying to wade in. However, the one with the resident doctors and ASU, that is solely on the federal government. Solomon Language says, good afternoon, ma. How was your, okay, everything good, everything fine. Thank you very much for checking. All the way from Gwagwalada Area Council. Mr. Oko, we need a concluding thought from you because we need to go for the news at this point in time.
Well, what I want to say, FCT Minister, please listen to the doctors and see the much you could do to relieve their pains and also relieve the pains of the masses that use the hospital. NUPENG, please see whether you can give Dangote more time for dialogue to prevail. And our dear Minister of Finance, keep postponing the evil day until we'll probably get a silver lining on the horizon. That's all I can say for now.
Thank you very much. And that's a nice way of putting it. Keep postponing until Nigerians are good and ready, which is like never at this point in time. Thank you very much, sir. I truly appreciate your time on the show with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
You too, yeah.
All right. It's Chuksoko has been our guest analyst on the Big Three today. We'll do this again tomorrow. Dorcas is here for the news at the top of the hour. And hopefully we'll have Hamzi Lawan join us for a one-on-one conversation after the news.
This is Nigeria